Coming up, I share the moment that almost made me quit the climb to broadcasting. Oh, it's going to hurt again. And then we've got a plumber shortage clogging up our economy. Yeah, I went there. Let's go. Hey, I'm here to help you win at work, because if you're winning at work, you are winning in a huge area of your life. If you're getting better, your paycheck's getting bigger, and I want to help you in that area. All right, so, from time to time, the team is like, hey, listen, I want you to share some of your story and all this kind of stuff, and I don't want to make it about me, but if we're going to make it about me, it should be something that's humiliating and something that really wrecked me and almost knocked me off the course that allows me to do what I do today. And so this is one of those stories, and there is a lesson here. And it was devastating, and it was devastating in how humiliating this scenario was, this moment. And so I'll take you to it. I had begun to step out after kind of sitting on the sidelines and essentially praying for a miracle, that God would drop some amazing broadcasting opportunity in my hands, because I was so talented. And, just, so much to offer. Okay, God, I'm going to pray and I'll make a few connections here or there, but, come on. And if you don't detect the sarcasm, let me tell you that was so misguided. And so I sat on the sidelines for a long time. And so this story picks up in the midst of a flurry of activity once I finally kicked myself in the rear end. By the way, I don't recommend you try that at home. It's hard to do, quite hazardous. But I gave myself a real, come on, man. You're pathetic. Get out there and make something happen. And by the way, quick aside, I have learned in my own journey, and I will stand by this for the rest of my days. I believe that when we step out, God steps in. I'm not trying to make this church. I'm not trying to preach at you. I'm just going to put that out there, and you do what you want with that. That's just kind of that's what I believe to my core. When we step out, God steps in. All right. So here I am. I'm stepping out. And God had not stepped in yet. I wish he had. But I made some phone calls, and I was trying to create a reel, and that is insider language for, in the broadcasting industry, to get a job, whether you're trying to get a weather job in a super small market in Red Dirt, Idaho, coming out of broadcasting school, or you're going the non-traditional route that I was going. I did not have a broadcasting degree, still don't have a broadcasting degree, but I thought I had the chops. And you have to create a demo reel, and a demo reel is you doing the thing and you showing clips in usually about 3 minutes or less, somewhere between 90 seconds to 3 minutes, and you're showing these highlight reels essentially for a producer or a program director, some executive, to give you a shot. And it's a way for someone to look at your reel and determine, okay, Ken has the talent, Ken has the look, whatever. Okay, so I didn't have a reel. And so I'm in this weird situation. I'm in my early 30s, and I don't have any experience other than emceeing very large leadership events. And so I'd been on a stage, and I was a good communicator, and had done hosting, but not in a traditional broadcasting way. So in other words, no TV, no radio. All right, so I'm in this weird situation. I think I got the chops, and I'm talking to people in the industry, and they're going, the challenge is you don't even have a degree and a reel from broadcasting, your major. You literally have nothing, so you have got to create something. Great, got it. So, I'm hustling. I mean, if nothing else, once I commit to something, I'm all in, and I'm going, and I'm making connections. And so through a relationship with my wife, her cousin is a big-time sports reporter, and he was in the NASCAR industry, still is. And so he made a connection for me. I'm so grateful. So I was living in the Atlanta area, and as fate would have it, Turner Sports Studios still down there, and they were there at the time. And so Stacy's cousin sets this up for me, and I get an opportunity to go in, and I'm going to sit in and watch a NASCAR show. It's a 30-minute weekly show. And they were going to let me do some highlights from the show. In other words, when the show was over, they were going to put me in the anchor chair, and I was going to get to call, like you would see on a Sports Center show or something, these NASCAR highlights. Now, what I didn't do, and we'll come back to this in a minute, what I didn't do was ask a lot of questions. I just was like, okay, this is great, and it was moving fast, and you're going to go down there on this day and be there at this time, and they're going to take care of you, and they'll give you the footage. Great! But I'd watched a lot of Sports Center in my life, but I'd never done it. And so I'm a little nervous, but also excited, and I'm kind of sitting there going, well, how hard could this be? I've watched Sports Center a billion times. How hard could this be? I actually at the time was into NASCAR, so I was like, I know the drivers, I know the cars. This is going to be great. Oh gosh, famous last words. Let me take you to the moment. I go in there, and then that's when the nerves hit me. How many of you have ever gone into a room? I don't care what the setting is, the scenario, personal, professional. How many of you have ever been in a room and you go, oh boy, I wish I hadn't come into this room? How many of you have been in a room where you go, oh my word, I don't belong in this room? And I'm telling you, it washes over me. And now I was already nervous. And now I can't think straight. All I can think about is, I didn't ask this. I didn't ask them if I needed to prepare. The guy literally goes to Prudy, goes, oh yeah, you're Ken. Okay, great. Here's what we're going to do. At the end of the show, we'll just throw you up there, and he says the anchor's name, and he goes, and you're just going to do the highlights. So, just hang out, and we'll come get you. And I'm going, oh crap, I'm over my skis. I shouldn't be here. I'm not ready for this. I didn't prep. I didn't watch a million highlights. I didn't practice. And it all hits me. What am I doing? I guess I thought they were going to spoon feed me and train me. I don't know what I was thinking, but I realized watching him do the highlights, I was like, uh-oh. This is not like watching highlights in my living room in my sweatpants. And I realized that I had not prepared. Well, now it's too late. I've got a very personal family relationship that made the connection, and I'm there and they're ready for me. And so here comes the moment. And they literally just say, hey, Ken, hop up there behind the desk. And I'm like, oh, crap. They stick a monitor in my ear. They go, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Did you see so-and-so do this? And I went, yeah. That's not how I talk, but that's how I was feeling. And then they go, all right, so we're going to run it once. You got a teleprompter, and you got the highlight that'll be above you, below, and the teleprompter. And I'm looking at my camera right here, and I'm looking at a camera, and I could see me doing all this nonsense. And then above it is a teleprompter. And so I'm sitting there, and I've never seen this before in my life, Alex. I've never seen that. And I'm really nervous, and they roll the highlights, and they go, just kind of practice with it. And while the highlights of the NASCAR race are rolling on the screen, what I'm supposed to say is above it. And I'm kind of going, I don't know what I'm supposed to look at. I'm so clueless, never worked with a prompter in my life, and I don't realize that I don't even need to look at what's going on the screen. I need to be looking at the prompter, but I didn't know that. So here you go. They've run it once, and they go, okay, Ken, you ready to go? Because here's the deal. The crew is tired. They're done. They want to go home. They're doing me a favor. They don't know me from Adam's House Cat. And they start rolling, and I'm immediately behind. And then you ever gotten in a situation where you know we're behind, and you just panic to try to catch up? And it makes it worse. And so here's the deal. I'm doing this right here. My eyes are going for the prompter. I'm trying to read. I'm trying to watch. I realize that the race is way out in front and the highlights so far in front of me, and I'm still trying to go. And then on lap 3, and they're on lap 27, and I'm freaking out. And I'm telling you, my mouth got so dry that at one point I thought my tongue was going to stick to the roof of my mouth, and I'm not exaggerating. The heat and the sweat, I had no stage makeup on, and the sweat was pouring down my face, and I could barely move my lips. And I remember getting through it, and folks, this was a 2-minute highlight that felt like 2 hours. And here's what happened. Everybody in the room knew that I wasn't ready. Now, there are reasons for why I wasn't ready. Maybe they thought I just didn't have the chops. I now know I did have the chops. I wasn't ready. I didn't practice. I didn't practice highlights at home and do my version of it. I didn't ask questions. You know what would have solved it all, Alex? If I had just said, hey, quick question. Do I need to just ignore what's going on the screen and just read the prompter? Had I asked that one question, it changes everything. But I didn't because I was scared. I didn't think I belonged. I didn't take charge of the situation. I was all stuck up in my pride in that I didn't prepare, pride that I didn't ask a question. And so guess what they did? They said, well, man, you want to try it one more time? Oh, gosh. And so we tried it again, and it was worse. I walked out of there that day beating myself up so bad that I went and sat in a parking lot for about an hour and a half and literally just sulked. Probably got emotional a little bit. I thought, what am I doing? And I beat myself up. Here's what I want you to hear. I want you to hear that I did that. And there are times when you step out in this stuff, I now can look back on it and go, if I'd have just said, hey, do I just read the prompter? Yeah, you dodo head. We wrote it for you. Read it. And by the way, I'm a good reader. It would have been pretty decent if I would have but I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't ask. And I act like I didn't belong. And as a result, I look like I didn't belong. So how do you avoid that? Number one, prepare. Number two, ask questions. In the moment, in that situation, when you don't know, it's okay to say you don't know and ask for help. Had I asked for help, it would have been a completely different scenario. But the biggest lesson is this. I have fallen flat on my face before and felt like I was an absolute fraud, and I got over it, and I learned the lesson of failure. So if you are somebody who recently fell flat on your face and you failed, welcome to the club. It's okay. None of those guys remember that story, and yet it's a nightmare to me, and I'm a little nervous right now. My anxiety's up just telling you the story. But none of those people care. They don't even remember my name, and yet I learned a valuable lesson. So the point is here, embrace the suck. Embrace the suck. It's going to suck early on. That's part of the deal, and you're going to get better because you actually were willing to suck. But the other lesson, you don't have to suck as bad as I did that day. Prepare. Ask for help. It's amazing what'll happen. Hey, high school seniors and parents of high school seniors, it's almost graduation time. And if you're not sure about next steps, I want you to listen to this. Coding skills are essential in today's workforce. And my friends at Bethel Tech can help you start a new career really fast and do it cheap. It only takes 9 months to complete a Bethel Tech course in UI, UX design, full stack development, data science, or cybersecurity. And your young person can get over 1,000 hours of experience in a collaborative environment and then get placed. The average starting salary for a junior developer is $66,000. And the field is projected to grow by 22% over the next 5 years. Software development is a career with an enormously bright future. And right now, Bethel Tech is offering you 10% off if you watch or listen to the Ken Coleman Show and you pay cash. So go to betheltech.net/Ken Coleman, betheltech.net/Ken Coleman right now for details. Terms and conditions do apply. Hey, if you're new to the show or you've been listening for some time and you've never gotten to a place where you feel like you have real confidence in who you are as a professional, in other words, what are you wired to do? We got a new book out. It's on the shelf behind me, but this is the book, Find the Work You're Wired to Do. But all this is a guide on how to use your assessment results from our signature product here on the Ken Coleman Show and everything I do, and it's the Get Clear Career Assessment. Measures 3 things. It has nothing to do with personality, by the way. So it's not another Enneagram or another DISC. It's none of that. This is actually a self-awareness tool. The Get Clear Career Assessment should be called an awareness tool. That's what it is. And it makes you aware of 3 things, 3 wires. Wire number 1, what you do really well. That's your talent and skill. Wire 2, the work you really enjoy. We call that passion. And then wire number 3, that sense of mission that you have. What motivates you? What results would you like that work that you love to do to produce? And that's your mark you make. And so when we know all 3 of those things, we have a real sense of direction and purpose, and that gives us confidence to move forward. So you can get the assessment and this book, all one price, kencoleman.com. All right, let's talk about where we are right now as it relates to the trades and our economy, and let's do it through the lens of one very important specific trade. If you're not a homeowner, you may not appreciate this trade as much as I do as a homeowner. Holy cow. By the way, when it's cold and you have a pipe that bursts in your house, who's the most important person on the planet? Is it your wife? Is it your husband? Or is it the plumber? I'm going with option C every time. Now, some of you smart Alex out there said, well, it's actually the spouse, it's me, because I can fix that stuff. Okay, great. That's a very small percentage of you. But I'm going to tell you, it's the plumber. When the shower in your teenage daughter's bathroom clogs up, who's the most important person on the planet? It's the plumber. Yeah, that's right. I could go on and on and on and on with scenarios. I think I've made my point. And by the way, we could go into 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. It is a Saturday afternoon, Alex, and it's July in the South, which means it's hotter than the first threshold of hell. And my AC unit, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the main level stops cooling. Hey! I try everything. I change the filters. I turn it off. It's not working. I'm already starting to stress out because I'm not going to get a hold of an HVAC guy on a Saturday afternoon. We're going to have to go to a hotel. I can't sleep when it's hot. You know, the whole drill. Thankfully, the guy shows up at about 7:30 at night, and about an hour and a half later, it starts to cool. We have a nice night. Who's the most important man in my wife's world? It's the HVAC guy, not this bonehead. You get my point. The trades affect our lives at its most important and fundamental levels. But the trades also have a massive impact on our economy in the United States. So, with that as the context and the backdrop, specifically looking at plumbing and the plumbing deficit. We have a plumber deficit. And again, I could probably do this same segment, and I've done it on carpenters. We could do it on a lot of areas, but let's look at this. And this is a great context for where we stand. And this is important to you all. Those of you who are interested in trades, those of you who are parenting kids who are interested in trades, this is unbelievable. And can I also say that as American citizens, this may be one of the biggest threats to our economy. Some of you are going, "What? Watch this. I'm gonna bring this home for you," because we, the people, have to start talking about the trades in a different way, or else it's going to crush our economy. Let me give you the facts. Here we go. Openings for plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters are wide open and will average about 42,000 a year over the coming decade. New jobs as plumbers, about 42,000 jobs will open each year over the next 10 years. This is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the money's not bad either. The annual mean wage for plumbers as of May 2022, so this is a little outdated, was $65,000. And that's higher than the national average. Now, again, that's May 2022, and that's just the mean. That doesn't mean anything. Like, I always say stuff like this, and people go, oh, I actually make way more. Great. And here's my point. A plumber in North Carolina might earn something in the 40s to 50s versus in California can pull in six figures. So obviously it varies. But what's concerning is the pace at which we are bringing new plumbers in. This continues to widen as a deficit. And how is this affecting you, the people? Ken, why does this matter to me? Because when there are less plumbers, you pay a premium when you got to get something fixed. There's just more demand to get a plumber in. And so guess who pays it? You do. It's a consumption tax. So some of you go, well, this doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter. Let's fast forward 10 years from now. You have less and less plumbers. You're going to be paying outrageous, crippling prices for basic services. If you think this doesn't matter to you, get your head out of you. You know what? Let's keep going. Why do we have a deficit? Here's why. You got to get up early. You may be getting up at 5 a.m. You're on the go all day long. You're in uncomfortable positions. You're in gross positions, crawl spaces, nasty scum. Come on. Being a plumber is not glamorous, but it is lucrative. Because you can make really good money. I'm telling you right now in Williamson County, where we live right here in Tennessee, a very good plumber who's established is making bank. Bank. $250,000, $300,000 with ease. Can't hire enough people. You like your little white collar job in your cube? Or do you like money, honey? Now, young people, though, have heard trades are really, really hard. They are. They've heard trades can be really, really gross and nasty. This is true. What they're not hearing is that the trades can pay you a lot of money and set you on a path to potential entrepreneurship and running your own business. The data is clear. 70% of Americans want to be self-employed, but only 6% are. You know why there's such a huge gap there? I'm glad you asked me. Because running a freaking business is hard. Starting the right business is hard. You're trying to come up with your next new idea, or you're the next thing you sell on Instagram, or you want to buy into some franchise. It's freaking hard, and people fail and lose their freaking shirt. But you know what's not hard to succeed in? Plumbing and electrical work. You know why? Because there's so much demand. By the way, it's even less difficult because if you go work for a plumber and you learn the trade and you get all the qualifications and you learn how they run the business and you work for them for 5, 7, 10 years and then you know everything there is to know about the business, you go out and do it. Come on. By the way, most Americans don't realize that small businesses are the greatest employer out there. Most jobs in America coming from these type of small businesses. So, final point here. What do? Well, there's no quick fix to this. You, the American people, need to start talking about it at cocktail parties, block parties, in school. We've got to see state governments, forward-thinking governors, forward-thinking legislators, forward-thinking county commissioners, because all politics are local. We got to see parents. We got to start talking to kids in middle school about a path to the trades and actually train them and show them the numbers. Because Every time I see an article like this, and it's cited in this article too, a young guy goes, it's really hard, it's really gross, but when you told me how much money I could make, I said, And so this is about recruiting and training. 2 words, recruiting and training. It's going to take time, but if intentional, it will turn the tide. And this is good for you in lowering your costs for basic services. It is good for our economy. Because as home building and home renovations go, so goes our consumer economy. So it does matter. And oh, by the way, you all may have some kids who never want to wear a white collared shirt. They don't mind having a little dirt under their fingernails. Welcome back. Hey, if you're enjoying the show, it's helping you in any way, would you help me by spreading the word? You can do that if you're watching on YouTube by liking the video with a thumbs up right there below the video window, subscribing to the channel, and sharing. Same goes for podcasts. If you're listening there, give us a follow, a 5-star review, and share as well. All right, let's go to Raleigh, North Carolina to Coach Dan up. Dan, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You bet. What's going on?
I am struggling a little bit, trying to figure out. So I was listening to your show, and it caused me to look inward. I was taking the Get Clear assessment, and I was thinking maybe I should just be doing my business as a side hustle, and I don't know what to do with my results. I don't know how to find the work that I'm wired to do.
Okay, tell me about the business you're doing right now.
So I have a flooring business, and I also I sell the material, do some installs, sub some of it out, and I do a lot of construction, carpentry, handyman stuff as well.
Great. And are you doing the flooring business full time and then the carpentry stuff on the side?
Yeah, it's a little bit mix of both. I fill in any off days with all those odd jobs.
Good.
Handyman construction gigs.
And what kind of money are you paying yourself?
I'm kind of just pulling as the money comes into the business, depending on what I need. But I'd say on average, I've been paid about $5,000 or $6,000 a month.
Okay. And are you single income or double income?
Double income.
Okay. What's your wife make?
She brings in about $3,000 a month.
Okay, good. All right. So you took the Get Clear assessment. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. You got your results in front of you?
I do.
All right. Let's go through these. Read them to me slowly so I can keep up. Let's go with the top 3 talents for folks listening and watching. This is the Get Clear. This is a self-awareness tool. And Dan is going, Ken, I got my results, but I still can't figure out the work I'm wired to do. And so we're going to look at his results, and I think we're going to figure something out. Top 3 things that you do well, the type of skills that you have. What do you got?
Inspection, organization,
okay,
logic.
Okay. All right, let's go to top 3 types of work that give you joy.
Researching, analyzing, planning.
Interesting. And I think I know the answer, but it's never for sure. What's your top missional result? This is the type of result that motivates you. If you're working to deliver this to the world, you're a happy guy. What is it?
Efficiency.
Interesting. All right. So these are your answers, by the way. People wonder, how does an assessment like this work? It's just us asking questions about you multiple different ways, and then it creates enlightenment. So when you read these results, how does it hit you?
I thought it was really amazing. I hope everybody takes it.
Good.
I thought it was eye-opening. Yeah.
I appreciate that, but it's just you telling me about you. And so when you see this, I see some patterns. So the talent of inspection, that's like, the way I describe this is Dan walks in a room and he immediately sees what could be fixed, what could be better. He's really good at looking at something multiple ways. And so the talent of inspection connects over to the passion of analyzing. It connects to the passion of researching. Are you kidding me? It connects to planning. Then you take the organization piece after you've done all the inspecting. You're like, okay, let's get a plan organized, or let's get all the stuff organized and then create a plan. And the logic piece is you're just a real thinker and analyzer in general, and you're good at it and you enjoy it. True or false?
True.
Yeah. And the missional result of efficiency, folks, is the real indicator for Dan. So, Dan, what we got to be paying attention to is you get motivated by making things work smoothly, right? Making things run the way or operate the way they're supposed to operate, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So when I hear this, I think there's 4 types of work. I believe that all work can be divided into 4 categories: people work, process work, idea work, and object work. I see process screaming at me. Do you?
Yeah, I do.
All right. So sometimes there's a secondary piece of work that we like, and it's either process and people, process and ideas, or process and objects. And the work you're doing now tells me it's object work, fixing stuff, building stuff. So the question that pops to me immediately is, I feel like in some ways you're doing work that you're wired to do. Is this true or false?
I think in some ways, yes.
Then what's missing? Now that I've kind of enlightened you on your results, what would you change? What changes would you make to this, to where you're doing process work and it's work that you really love? What is that? What changes have to happen?
So what I realized looking at all this was, I think a lot of the work I've been doing in my business in particular has a lot of the creation and, objects in it. But I connected a lot with my results saying that one of my strengths isn't really the execution. I don't
Right.
do a phenomenal job on that end.
Great. That's
So,
perfect.
Yeah, I feel a lot as though instead of, I don't really enjoy running the entire show and having to deal with those 50 balls in the air. I think I might be better in a different seat on the bus.
I agree.
That's more tailored.
I agree. You know what I think you are in some ways? And don't take this as a literal application, but you're the consultant, not the creator.
Yeah.
You're best paired with somebody who is going to execute or do the thing, because you've said, here's what needs to happen.
Yeah, and I got to thank your assessment for helping me realize that, and that's okay to
It's
focus on.
totally okay. So here's what happens now, just practically speaking. You need to stay where you are because that's your income. But now you immediately, I think you now realize, I need to be looking for jobs that match that purpose statement. That purpose statement that we that we give you in the assessment, that's made of those answers: top 3 talents, top 3 passions, primary mission. That's your job description. Now it's at 35,000 feet. Yeah. Like a plane. Okay. It's up high, but it allows you to look down and go, aha. So for instance, are there changes you could make in your current business? Is there a hire that you make, which changes everything? Or is it, nope, that's just not the right bus. I need a new bus and the right seat. So maybe I'm going to work for somebody and I'm a project manager, maybe because I'm now looking at systems and efficiencies, and then I'm describing what needs to happen, and then the team makes it happen. It could go so many different ways. But now it's a game changer for you because you're looking for process jobs where, again, you get to come in, get your eyes on it, analyze what needs to happen, organize all the facts, do some research, put the plan together, hand the blueprint over to somebody, and then get out of the way and take on the next problem. That's what I think. How does that sound to you?
I think that sounds pretty good.
Now you got to start looking for it. You got to start looking for it.
I'm having trouble finding it, yeah.
No, because I don't think you were looking in the right place, or you wouldn't have called me. This call came because you didn't even know where to look. Fair?
Yeah.
So I want to encourage you. We just had a little coaching session where we got you to a place where you go, aha, I know what I'm looking for. I don't think you knew what you were looking for, and I think now you do, correct?
Yeah, I would say it's accurate.
Right. So again, now you got to go start doing research, and you really love research. So now you
do.
got to look in the job market and go, I'm looking for process-focused work, systems analyst type stuff, maybe even technology. If I were you, I'd call Bethel Tech. I endorse Bethel Tech. They're a 9-month tech school, less than $15,000 for you as a Ken Coleman Show listener. And
Okay.
I just think the tech thing you ought to kick, because I look at this and I go, man, you could that could be very interesting in tech with that analytical brain of yours and the analyzing. You start getting into data and stuff like that. That might be interesting. Just look and see. Look and see.
Yeah.
Read your.
I think that's always been my gut feeling as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of the first thing that pops to my brain, which
Good.
I hear you say a lot.
I love it. Look into it.
I think maybe I'm nervous about starting so late and
Doesn't matter at all.
If I can be successful.
How old are you?
Not running my own business.
Of course
31.
you can. Oh my gosh, dude, you're 31. Give me a freaking break. It's not too late for you. It's not too late. No, there's
it's
no.
Not efficient.
Dude, I don't care. I started in broadcasting at 31. Started doing high school football play-by-play on the internet. There were 2 people listening, the kid next to me and my wife at home because she's a good woman. Don't you talk to me about being 31 and starting too late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I had 3 kids and a dog. Cry me a river. Here's the deal. If nothing else, call Bethel Tech and read your purpose statement to them and tell them what I said and have them describe for you the type of jobs in tech that match up with that purpose statement. They know. I'm not saying that's the play, but I'm saying it's possible. And they have a job placement program. 75% of their students get placed immediately and sometimes before they even quit. I mean, not quit, finish. So just look at that one option, then also do some more research. I'm done pepping you up. You know exactly what to do. Get after it, my friend. This is The Ken Coleman Show.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.